for joining back in for a little bit more of Out of the Dust. We pick up on summer of 1935. This one's called The Dream. Piano, my silent mother, I can touch you. You are cool and smooth and willing to stay with me to talk to me. Uncomplaining, you accept the cover to your keys, and still you make room for all that I place there. We close our eyes together and together find that stillness like a pond. A pond when the wind is quiet and the surface glazing unblinking at the blue sky. I play songs that have only the pattern of myself in them, and you hum along supporting me. You are the companion to myself, the mirror with my mother's eyes. July 1935. And this one's called Midnight Truth. I am so filled with bitterness. It comes from the dust. It comes from the silence of my father. It comes from the absence of my mom. I could have loved her better. She could have loved me too. But she's rock and dust and wind now. She's carved stone. She's holding my stone brother. I have given my father so many chances to understand, to reach out, to love me. He once did. I remember his smile, his easy talk. Now there's nothing easy between us. Sometimes he takes notice of me, like coming after me in the dust, but mostly I'm invisible. Mostly I'm alone. My father's digging his own grave. He calls it a pond, but I know what he's up to. He is rotting away like his father, ready to leave me behind in the dust. Well, I'm leaving first. Again, that was July of 1935. This one's called Out of the Dust. This is not a dream. There's no comfort in dreams. I try to contain the ache as I leave my bed. I try to still my heart as I slip from my room with my kerchief of dimes. Moving slowly down the stairs, I cross the kitchen, taking only some biscuits and leaving my father's house. It is the middle of the night and I hear every sound inside me, outside me. I go, knowing that I'll die if I stay, and that I'm slowly, surely smothering. I walk through the calm night under the stars. I walk to where the train stops long enough for a long-legged girl to latch on as my heart races. I feel the tremble beneath me, and then the sound of sharp knives, metal against metal, as the train pulls up to the station. Once I might have headed east to Mr. Roosevelt. Now I slip under cover of darkness inside a boxcar and let the train carry me west, out of the dust. That was August of 1935. So is this one. This one's called Gone West. I am stiff and sore. In 2 endless days on this train, I have burned in the desert, shivered in the mountains. I have seen the camps of Dust Bowl migrants along the tracks. There was one girl. I saw her through the slat in the boxcar. She stared up at the passing train. She stood by the tracks watching, and I knew her. This one's called Something Lost, Something Gained. He climbs into my car. He's dirty and he has a sour smell. His eyes are ringed by the soil that comes from riding trains. But there's a deeper shadow to those eyes, like ashes, like death. He needs a hair comb and a shave and a mending needle applied to his pants. He speaks to me. Where are you from, miss? He wants to know. He shows me a picture of his family, a wife, 3 boys. The photograph is all he carries, that and the shredding, stinking clothes on his back. I feed him 2 of the stale biscuits I have been hoarding and save the rest. I'll be hungry tonight, what with giving my day's biscuits away. But I can see the gaunt of hunger in his cheeks. He asks if I have water and I shake my head, my tongue thick with thirst. He eats the biscuits. He doesn't care that they're caked with dust. He finishes eating and crumbs stick to his mustache. He's staring hard at me and his eyes water. I've done it again, he says. Taken food from a child? I show him my cloth bag with more biscuits. At home, he said. I couldn't feed them, couldn't stand the baby always crying, and my wife, always that dark look following me. Couldn't take it no more. Lost our land, they tractored us out, so we had to leave. We rented a while and then moved in with Lucille's kin. Couldn't make nothing grow. I nodded. I know. We talked as the train rocked, as the cars creaked, as the miles showed nothing but empty space. We talked through the pink of the setting sun and into the dark. I told him about Ma dying. I told him about my father and how the thing that scared us both the most was being left alone. And now I'd gone and left him. I told him about the piano and Arlie Wanderdale and how I wasn't certain of the date, but I thought it might be my birthday, but he was sleeping by then, I think. He was like tumbleweed. Ma had been tumbleweed too, holding on for as long as she could, then blowing away on the wind. My father was more like sod, steady, silent, and deep, holding on to life with reserves underneath to sustain him and me and anyone else who came near. My father stayed rooted even with my tests and my temper, even with the double sorrow of his grief and my own. He had kept a home until I broke it. When I woke, the man was gone, and so were my biscuits. But under my hat, I found the photograph of his family, the wife and 3 boys. Maybe the photograph was left in trade for the biscuits. Maybe it was a birthday gift, the one thing he had left to give. The children in the picture were clean and serious, looking out with a certain longing. The baby had his eyes. On the back of the photograph in pencil was the address of his family in Mullen, Kansas. First chance, I'd send the picture back and let his wife know that he was still alive. I got off the train in Flagstaff, Arizona. A lady from the government agency saw me. She gave me water and food. I called Mr. Hardy from her office and asked him to let my father know I was coming home. So that was August of 1935. So's this. Homeward Bound. Getting away, it wasn't any better. Just different and lonely. Lonelier than the wind. Emptier than the sky. More silent than the dust piled in drifts between me and my father. This one's called Met. My father is waiting at the station, and I call him Daddy for the first time since Ma died, and we walk home together, talking. I tell him about getting out of the dust and how I can't get out of something that's inside me. I tell him he is like the sod and I am like the wheat, and I can't grow everywhere, but I can grow here with a little rain and a little care and a little luck. And I tell him how scared I am about those spots on his skin, and I see he's scared too. I can't be my own mother, I tell him, and I can't be my own father. And if you're both going to leave me, well, what am I supposed to do? And when I tell Daddy so, he promises to call Doc Rice. He says the pond is done, we can swim in it once it fills, and he'll stock it with fish too, catfish, that I can go out and catch of an evening and fry up. He says I can even plant flowers if I want. As we walk together side by side in the swell of dust, I am forgiving him, step by step, for the pail of kerosene. As we walk together, side by side, in the soul-deep dust, I am forgiving myself for all the rest. August of 1835. All right, well, we'll stop there and we'll pick up on autumn of 1935 next time.